But Clark Kent literally took off glasses and suddenly he was Superman. Batman's mask. Remember the original Batman, though? Like, it barely fit his face. You could tell who this person was. The same thing with Wonder Woman. You might be asking why I'm talking about fictional superheroes to start the show tonight, but trust me, there is a reason, and it's serious. Right now, the threat of communism in this country has never been higher. Never before. Not before World War II, not after World War II. Senator Joseph McCarthy never dealt with anything like this. The Democrat Party has been completely hijacked by a group called the Democrat Socialists of America, who are people pretending to be ordinary, everyday Democrats, but they're not.
I mean, our goal is liberation. Our goal is communism.
The DSA Leadership Board, also called the National Political Committee, is 51% communist. 51%, think about that. More than half of these so-called socialists are actually communists. But they also understand that because 73% of voters in this country right now are still against communism, they need to put on a disguise, just like Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne, Peter Parker, and hope that voters don't figure it out in November. Just like the people in those superhero movies, they are doing the exact same thing as we speak, and it's working.
Ashley Moody knows that I'm not a socialist. I joined the DSA because I believe in them in regards to fighting for adequate public housing, as well as fighting for quality health care, as well as making sure that we are getting our veterans off the street.
So that was Florida Senate candidate Angie King, and she was fine with being a Democrat socialist before her primary. But now she needs to win over other voters, independent voters. So suddenly she's morphed from Democratic socialist just into plain old Democrat. Like Clark Kent, she put the glasses back on, meaning Angie is now in disguise. She wants Medicare for all. She wants free child care. She wants rent freezes. She wants public land for all. She wants free colleges. She wants to abolish ICE and prisons and the police. But Angie's not a socialist. Wink, wink, and voters are falling for it. If it looks like a socialist, if it talks like a socialist and wants to defund the police, chances are it is a socialist, maybe a communist. And it's not just Angie. Michigan Senate candidate Abdul Al-Said campaigned with Hassan Piker, who says that America deserved 9/11. This picture right here of the two of them was taken before the primary in Michigan. These two aren't just friends, they're good friends. Hassan Piker is also not denying what we already knew, that socialism is actually just communism in disguise.
How is socialism different than communism?
Communism is supposed to be the end stage. It's like the final goal. It's like the final evolution, a stateless, moneyless, classless society, a borderless society. I feel as though that is definitely an honorable end goal to reach.
Yeah, it sounds like a utopia to me. Garden of Eden, right, Hassan? Unfortunately for Al-Said, most Americans do not want that to happen. That's a good thing. So what do Democrats do? What are they doing now? Well, all week long, suddenly, they've started criticizing Hassan Piker, pretending that he doesn't speak for them, which also, of course, is not true.
Don't any reporter ask me again about Hassan Piker. It's not what November is about.
I've just addressed Hassan Piker's comments as it relates to the Jewish community as forcefully as I can, and I will continue to do that.
He's nothing more than a grifter and a hater, although unfortunately many of my colleagues have decided to campaign with him. There's no room anywhere in our party for a hater and a grifter like Piker.
Yeah, you remember Angie King with the glasses there? We just were talking about her. Well, she also campaigned with Piker, but now suddenly she claims she doesn't even know who Hassan Piker is, which, my goodness, she should maybe consult a doctor about that. That's not a good thing if you want to serve in Congress. But they were literally just together.
I don't really know who Mr. Piker is. I've heard about him, and so
you don't know who he is?
I said I don't really know who he is personally or anything like that. I am actually focused on Florida and making sure that I'm talking to voters here.
Well, you were just with him like 10 days ago. So what do you mean? Is that amnesia? What's happening? Suddenly, Hassan Piker is bad for business, and Democrats all across the country are all saying the same thing. What a coinky-dink. Cory Booker saying, quote, Hassan Piker's dangerous and hateful language targeting Jewish Americans has no place in our civil discourse. Congresswoman Hillary Scholten saying, quote, full stop, Piker is a hack who thrives on hate. Congressman Josh Gottenheimer saying, quote, blaming Jews for the violence targeting them is the oldest, ugliest lie there is. And straight out of the Nazi playbook, any politician who shares a stage with a hate-peddling grifter like Hassan Piker owns every bit of it, end quote. And little Abdul al-Said himself is suddenly wearing a disguise, too. He's got the glasses on now because he knows that he needs to trick Michigan voters between now and November if he wants to win that election. And then he'll go right back to being a socialist or a communist or whatever he is, only this time he'll be doing that in Washington. Quote, my commitment to Jewish safety is the same as my commitment to the safety of my own daughters. Nobody speaks for this campaign besides me and my campaign spokespeople. Unfortunately for al-Said, his old buddy Hassan went on his show the very next day and exposed what we already knew, that if you vote for al-Said, you are really voting for an anti-Semitic communist.
He's moderating his position on Israel, all this stuff. I don't think he is. Okay, I will say this. I am literally the person that is being dangled. And I'm going to tell you once again, he's not moderating on his perspective on Israel or anything like that.
Well, maybe they're not that close after all. Despite what al-Said is saying now, according to his old pal, Hassan Piker, Abdul is lying to the public. I love these names, by the way, all of these names. Remember this photo that I showed you? This photograph was taken the day before the primary in Michigan. Do those two look close to you? They look close to me. I'm not an anthropologist, but they look pretty close to me. According to Abdul and Hassan, nothing has changed.
I'm not DSA.
I know you're not.
But if folks from the DSA want to be part of the Democratic Party, I would imagine that anybody would want them there, right? Because you want voters. I think that folks who come here, like with 2 weeks left in the election, really want to label me a socialist. I don't know why.
So why would people be calling him a socialist? And why would people be calling him a communist? Why? Where does that come from? Well, maybe it comes from what he has said himself, because he wants Medicare for all and free child care, and he wants to freeze rents. He wants common property. He wants free college. He wants to defund the police. Remember, if it looks like a socialist and it talks like a socialist, most likely it's a socialist or a communist in disguise.